Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose. I guess that's what we're going to call it, unless we get a whole lot of recommendations for a better name. So I don't know if you saw today's press conference, COVID conference, whatever you want to call it. Wow is all I can say. Wow. Donald Trump, during today's press conference, played a clip, and I'm looking for the clip, so bear with me. Hopefully someone can drop it. I don't want to play the whole conference, but there was one clip that he played on the screen, and CNN cut away from it. MSNBC played the clip, but then cut away. It was not good for the fake news. It was not good at all. Wow is all I can say. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. He showed the complete hypocrisy with the fake news. He showed what they said versus what they did, what they said about this person versus what this person said. It was great. If you did not catch that part, I highly recommend that you go and you watch it. I will try to find the little clip and I will link it in all of the streams afterwards. I wasn't able to find it in time to start the stream today. Unfortunately, again, if someone can find it, I will try to set it up. But it was amazing is all I can say. It was amazing. It was so bad, I guess, that CNN walked out of the briefing. I don't know about that. I did not see that. I read that somewhere. But so there's been some concern lately because Smithfield Foods, and along with a number of other places, has closed down, right? Smithfield Foods, this is from USA Today. Smithfield Foods closes one of the nation's largest pork plants as worker COVID-19 cases spike. Now, we have a lot of people that are like, oh my goodness, we're going to see a huge impact on our meat markets and stuff like that. The thing that I want to point out for this, just Smithfield, I can't speak to the rest, but it's really important to realize that Smithfield is owned by a Chinese company. They are exporting from us to China where they import it from here. It's really important that people understand that the Smithfield one isn't going to impact us. It's just not. Other ones, yes, we will see some issues from that. But the Smithfield closure is not the big issue that people are making it out to be. So everyone, relax. It's not as bad as, of course, the fake news likes to make it out to be. Just want to point out right here, they got an order to fill. China, said one plant worker who asked to remain anonymous. Smithfield Foods declined to comment on the change or allow our reporter to visit the Virginia plant, which slaughters about 10,000 pigs a day. WH Group, known as Shanghai International Holdings when it bought Smithfield Foods, did not respond to a request for comment. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. We have China who has infiltrated our economy, multiple aspects. It's not just food production. We've seen what happened with the medication when they said, well, we just won't ship meds to you. China has been buying up this country in increments for many, many, many years. They are not about to stop. Now, I did see some interesting things recently. Paul, hey Paul, good to see you. Whereas China apparently has a resurgence of the dastardly virus. Um, I haven't read much into that yet. I want to get a little more updated evidence. Um, so while I'm here, I want to tell you I have a special guest this Thursday. His name is Christopher Wells, and I asked him to send me some information uh, so that I could present his information on. And he sent me like this massive email where it's going to take me like 10-15 minutes to introduce him. But the list of accomplishments in this email are absolutely amazing, guys. I'm telling you. He is a fantastic patriot. He is someone that won an election in a city that, to my knowledge, hasn't elected a Republican before. This is Hobart. He actually won the election to get on the Hobart City Council. And for those of you who live in Northwest Indiana, that's a huge deal. That's massive. So he's going to be joining me Thursday night at 7. So make sure you tune in then. I'm trying to get him to get his wife to come on with him. I think that'll be awesome because he's a teacher. She is also a teacher. And I think the things that they have both been able to accomplish are absolutely incredible. I will save the rest of that for Thursday, so that I don't spoil it for you, but it's pretty awesome. I have also been told by Donald Rainwater, the libertarian guy running for governor of Indiana, that he would be interested in coming on. So we're going to set that up. We're also going to make sure that we continue to tell Ken's story. There he is. There's Chris Wells. I don't know when you joined, Chris, but I've been telling them that the email that you sent me is going to take me quite some time to introduce you. But I hope that he'll be able to get his wife to come on with him. I think that'll be a great time. So to kind of recap for those of you who just joined us, if you did not see the presser today, the press conference, whatever you want to call it, right? There was a clip. If anybody can find it for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. There was a clip that Donald Trump played for the press, right, and the American people during this that was amazing. And he said, Dan just put it together. Dan and his team put it together within just the last 2 hours, and then he has hundreds and hundreds of other clips. I'd like to ask you, do you think that this is the face of the public awakening? Do you think that Trump is going to use his press conferences to show the American public what they have been lied to about how far our fake news is going to go to lie to the American people? Because that's what I believe. I believe that this is the perfect instrument for him. CNN is so scared. They are so terrified of the things that he was showing in this video that they cut away from it. They actually cut away from it. It is, let's see, Queen Divine says, perfect. Every news agency saw this. Yes. And they said, yes, I believe that this is the face of the public awakening, that Donald Trump is going to use his platform that he has right now to show everyone what is really going on, what the press has really been doing. When it came on, right, my wife, who is usually fairly quiet when we're watching stuff, for the most part, she talks, but she doesn't get really loud, right? She said, she was like, no, he didn't. Yeah. Divine said, I was so excited using the media against itself. Yes, it was amazing. My son came out of his room. He's very in his room kind of, and he heard all the noise and he came out and he saw part of it and he's like, oh, no way. It was incredible. So I'm really looking forward to people finally seeing what the press has been doing to us as a nation. I firmly believe that it is not Donald Trump causing the division. It is the fake news. It is the people who are weaponizing the division in this country. The people, the news agencies, and they're all guilty. All of the big ones are guilty, right? CNN, MSNBC, CBS, Fox, they're all guilty. They all take little snippets, right, of something that's said and twisted what was said. Matt said he missed what happened today. Oh, you really have to go. Now, the good news is you don't have to go through the whole press conference. I'm going to tell you, it's probably like 10 minutes or so into it. First of all, the first big event that I saw, Donald Trump gets up there. Our president is addressing the nation. He's talking. And then he gives Fauci, right? The deep state spy Fauci, which that's my opinion, but there's a lot of evidence to back that up. He gives him an opportunity to come up and speak. And the way he hurried up to the microphone, right? He runs up to the microphone. He goes up and he says, I got to clarify some things. When I said, no, I'm not under any pressure, because a reporter actually asked him, are you being forced to say this? Like, really? Yes, because someone's standing there with a gun to his head. Give me a break with this stuff. The same thing that happened with the Senate, right? When Lying Schiff gets up there and talks about how head on a pike. You guys remember that? Insane. Anyway, he gets up there and he's like, I just want to point out that when I went on and we had a bad day, bad last week, and I went on CNN and I said that, I said this, but what I really meant was this. He walked back the crap that he said about lives could have been saved and there was pushback from the administration. He clarified that what he meant by pushback was someone saying, are you sure that that's going to help save lives? What if we do this? That's not pushback. That's discussion, homie. I mean, that's how it is. So he mischaracterized what Trump did, what the administration did, and he was forced to get up there and tell the truth. Then shortly thereafter, president gets up there and says, I just want to show you, a short clip that we've prepared. And it starts off with a bang, right? A bang. For those of you who've seen it, you'll know, epic, right? If somebody in the audience can send me a clip of just the video that he played, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, I will find it after the live stream and I will link it in the comments. So a big part of today's press conference was people trying to push back against that message, right? Well, it looks like campaign propaganda. The funny thing is campaign propaganda is real life events. Campaign propaganda is telling the truth. Well, if that's the case, if you follow that line of logic, right, then propaganda by the Trump campaign is telling the truth. So what then is propaganda by the news media when they don't tell the truth? Just, a little bit of mental exercise there. I posted earlier, my whole family was like, no way. Oh my goodness. Right. It was epic. So the rest of the press conference was essentially him talking about how the measures that he's going to be doing. He's in talks with the governors, and the governors, even some of his most vocal critics, right? Gavin Newsom and, Pelosi's brother-in-law, cousin, uncle, whatever, they're related. He was very, very clear that, Trump and the Trump administration have helped very, very much. Chris says he sent the video. Awesome. I'm going to go see if I can find that. It was absolutely amazing. He was talking about how the governors are on his side, how they have told him that in general he has done absolutely everything he could, and that there's nothing else that he could have done. The other thing that I found really, really telling that I really appreciated from him was these reporters trying to say various things. And he said, oh, okay, yeah, I'm trying to, oh, he sent the, oh, okay, he sent it to me to my PM. I'm trying to get it. In the meantime, he pointed out, right? He said, now remember, this is the information that, there's the link. I don't know if anyone will be able to access it. I'm going to try to get it posted and shared so we can watch it, because it's well worth watching. I'm working on that. Please bear with me for a moment. So one thing that he said was, okay, so you have all these people that are talking about should have did this, should have did that. And he pointed out, right, the dates. He's like, okay, so January, I think he said 16th, we had 0 cases, 0 deaths. So you want me to shut down the greatest economy in the world, the greatest that this economy has ever been, for 0 cases and 0 deaths? There was, sorry, hold on. There was just a collective quiet, right, across the room. He's trying to show these people, what more should I have done? When should I have acted? When there were 0 cases? When there was 1 case? At what point should it have gone to, okay, here it is. I think I have it. Now I'm going to try to see. Yeah, unfortunately, it's only showing up. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to try to bring this up here. Sorry for the eventually I'll get better at multitasking this. But he asked him directly, he's like, what do you think is going to happen here? Right now, I'm going to tell you, I don't think there'll be any sound on this. I've had sound issues in the past, but I am going to pop it up. Yes, Chris, it's working now. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm going to show you. There it is. I'm going to make it full screen. Again, I don't think the sound will work, but we will try it anyway.
People are concerned about the coronavirus because they're hearing a lot of news about it right now. But the reality is, comparing it to the flu, for example, it's not even close to being at that stage.
What if it is worse? Is this a moment where maybe countries put politics aside, a little bit of pride aside, and do we have U.S. officials, should U.S. professionals such as yourself get involved?
How worried should Americans be about coronavirus?
Coronavirus is not going to cause a major issue in the United States.
While President Trump took decisive action. There's the timeline of what Trump did.
Ask them to accelerate whatever they're doing in terms of a vaccine. We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. Medicare patients can now visit any doctor by phone or video conference at no additional cost.
The first 1 million masks will be available immediately.
At that point,
there were more cases, and it was clear that it was spreading.
Now, this is Maggie Haberman from New York Times.
Originated. The president took this move that he was widely criticized for by Democrats and even some Republicans at the time, which was he halted a number of flights from China into the U.S. The idea was to halt the spread of the disease, keep transmissions to a minimum. He was accused of xenophobia. He was accused of making a racist move. At the end of the day, it was probably effective because it did actually take a pretty aggressive measure against the spread of the virus.
His team is on it. They've been responsive late at night, early in the morning, and they've thus far been doing everything that they can do, and I want to say thank you, and I want to say that I appreciate it.
He returns calls. He reaches out. He's been proactive. We got that Mercy ship down here in Los Angeles. That was directly because he sent it down here. 2,000 medical units came to the state of California, these FMS, these field medical stations. And that's been very, very helpful.
The president has been outstanding through all this. The vice president's been outstanding. Members of the coronavirus task force, very responsive.
We had asked if we could have, New Jersey could have access to a piece of the beds that are on the USNS Comfort, and the president came back, called me a short few minutes before I walked in here to say indeed they would grant that to New Jersey. So that's a big step for us in addition to all the other capacity. That news is literally hot off the press, and I thank the president and vice president who were on the call together.
President Trump approved Arizona's request for a presidential major disaster declaration. I want to thank the president for a quick turnaround. We requested this on a Wednesday, and we had approval by Saturday morning. And we are grateful to the administration for their continued support and responsiveness.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the president and the vice president for doing a really good job of communicating with all the governors.
So we could give you hundreds of clips like that from governors, including Democratic, or Democrat as I call them, governors, which is actually the correct term. We could give you hundreds of clips just like that. We have them. We didn't want this to go on too long, but I just want to say it's, it's very sad when people write false stories like, in that case, I guess it was gotten mostly from the New York Times, which is a highly, if you had libel laws, they would have been out of business even before they'll end up going out of business. So,
right? Amazing. Hold on, let me close that. So, go back to this. Okay, so did we get better sound on that? Let's see here. Thought I saw, yeah. Paul said, works this time, clean sound, awesome. Chris says, love Trump's pointing at the media. Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. Them pointing at the timeline. He's like, you there. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to tell you, that right there is why I'm voting for Trump in 2020. That is probably the most perfect summation of it. It's nuts. Matt says, I used to roll my eyes whenever Trump would say fake news, yet all the news does is prove him right time and time again. It's amazing to watch. I agree. Look, there have been times, there have been things that he's said on Twitter that I'm like, oh man, no. But I'm going to be very clear. I love when he calls out fake news. I love when he points out the sheer hypocrisy that people that are supposed to be reporting the news to us are lying. They're lying to us. Paul says they lie and make up stories more than a toddler. Yes. Chris says, I love the New York Times shot. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That was right in the microphone. He does probably the best job of playing the press, right? Like a puppet master that I've ever seen. Now, some people attribute it to 5D chess. Some people attribute it to the fact that he's surrounded by generals. I will say that I personally, I think it's a combination of many, many, many things. He has told us time and time again. There's a video that's circulating, and it was the video that from the 2016 election where he told us, it is not any one person. It is a systematic effort to destroy the American way of life. Now, in 2016, I had never heard the name George Soros. I had no idea that there were people that actually truly hated. I knew there were people that hated America, right? Osama bin Laden and stuff like that. But people that were actively using their money, right, to worm their way into our political structure, to our way of life to destroy our way of life because they truly hate us. George Soros hates the United States of America. Let's see. Paul says, but arguing with governors and other presidents is, yeah, like I said, there's some things that he says that I'm like, oh, really? But when he tells it like it is, that's the Trump that I voted for. That's the Donald Trump that I said, yes, you. I'm not sure. I hope you're going to do what you say you're going to do, but look at our options in 2016 and 2020. Look at the options in 2020. Freaking Bernie, right? Good old Bernie. I'm asking for your help once again, my man, right? He endorsed Biden. Please tell me you saw that coming. I saw it coming. It's just a rinse and repeat of 2016. My only question is, what did he get this time? Did he get another house? Did he get a plane? What did he get, right? Chris says, did you see the New York Times article clearing Biden of sexual assault while attacking Trump? I have not. I try not to read the Times unless somebody shows, links something, and they paywalled everything. So even if I wanted to read that rag, I can't, which doesn't that tell you how badly they're doing financially? When they have to lock everything behind a paywall, my question is, who is paying these people for a subscription now after seeing the headlines being changed? You know what I did see, though, Chris? What I did see is the tweet that they sent out, right? I'll have to dig this up because this is priceless, where it said Biden has never been accused of sexual assault except for the times he touched women that they didn't want him to. So, and then they deleted that part because that literally made the case for it. But they don't want us to focus on that. I've seen side by sides of it, and it's hilarious. It really is. Like it's sad and hilarious at the same time. Paul says, no Me Too support behind those accusing him. No more believe women in this case. Yeah. If you notice, Alyssa Milano, right? Who I just want to state for the record is like, I had a huge crush on her, right? When I was a kid, teenager, and she was, a rising star. But she's nuts. Like, woohoo, like, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs nuts, right? She was in the hearings at the Kavanaugh hearings, right? With her little sign and her little book and her little, stuff. But she's endorsing Biden, the guy who touched little kids, man. Little kids. Come on, man. Regardless, I'm not going to make that leap and say that, he's a predator, right? Because I'm not claiming that. But I will say that there is tons and tons of video and really, really just disgusting behavior by the man. I highly recommend that you visit the following website. I'm going to link it into chat because it is absolutely priceless. What? Okay, Facebook isn't letting me post it. It is joebiden.info, info. Quote, your content couldn't be shared because this link goes against our community standards. It's a satire website, right? He forgot to buy the .info link, right? It's all true, but it specifically says satire. I'm going to post, look, see, this allowed me to post it. This allowed me to post it, but Facebook, what I call fascist book, will not allow me to link this. Again, it is joebiden.info, and it is incredibly, incredibly sad and amusing at the same time. It delineates all the things that Biden has done, the behavior, the voting record, all of it. It was purchased. My understanding is it was purchased by a Trump supporter who turned it into a satire site about good old Joe, creepy, Uncle Joe. But my question to all of the Bernie Sanders supporters out there, and I really do legitimately want an answer to this. So now that Sanders has come out and endorsed the very Democratic establishment that he claimed to be fighting against, again, let's put that out there, again, now that he's come out again and endorsed Joe Biden, are you planning to do what Bernie says and vote for Biden? Are you going to do that? Are you going to stay home on election day? Are you going to write in Bernie? Or are you going to vote Trump? I'm curious. Put your answer in the comments there. What are you going to do? Now, look, let's talk about Bernie for a second, because how can we not, right? He just came out and said he's endorsing Biden. Now, this is the same. Remember, this is the same thing that happened in 2016 when the DNC stole the nomination from him. Then, it's the same thing. He runs for president, right? Doesn't get the nomination for whatever reason. And look, regardless of how you feel about his policies, what they did to him is blatantly wrong. He was on track, right? He had the numbers. He was bringing in record numbers. I'm personally not a fan. I think his policies would destroy America. But the funny thing is he even says, well, we're not going to be able to do this. We can believe it, but it's not going to happen because we need Congress to do all this stuff for us. So I've got some messages popping up. Sorry about that. Paul says, vermin. I think I assume you're talking about Biden there. Yeah. Look, man. Let's look at this from just an emotionless perspective. We have a guy who cannot even stay on task for 5 minutes without a teleprompter. And even when he has a teleprompter, if you've seen clips of his town hall, if that's true, which the softball questions that he got during this town hall, it was obviously planned. But this town hall that he did recently, he couldn't 5 minutes. We watched about 5 minutes, and then he starts, and then it just goes off into crazy land. This guy cannot run the United States of America. Are you kidding me? Really? No, Joe. Say it ain't so. He either is faking very, very well, or he is in cognitive decline, in which case I really feel bad for him. I quit making fun of him a long time ago because I'm truly sad for the guy. My grandfather suffered from dementia, right? We're pretty sure it was Alzheimer's. But he definitively had dementia. And there were times when I would go to his house and he didn't recognize who I was. My grandmother took care of him all the way up until the end. He used to argue with her and scream at her because he wanted his car keys. And so, it was really, really painful to witness and to go through, and that's what I feel like is happening with Joe Biden. It's sad to watch, and the people who are behind this, the people who are making this happen, should be ashamed of themselves to put this man through this, and it's sickening. Yeah, Paul agrees it's mental for sure. So look, there are many things going on today that a lot of people are not aware of. There's a video that I shared. I've tried to get it out there as much as I can. It's called Out of Shadows. And if you have not seen this video, I recommend watching it. It is a very good introductory level exposure to what's really going on in Hollywood, in our government, in many industries around the world. and how they hold far too much power, right? Operation Mockingbird is something that you should look up. MK Ultra is something else. It's all real. It's all fact. There have been quotes from the leaders of the CIA who have said when all, I believe, I don't want to misquote, but I think it's when what all of America believes is a lie, our job will be complete. The CIA has had reporters on their payroll. They have fed the major reporting groups, AP, routers, the news, the so-called news, for many, many, many years. Ronald Reagan was probably one of the last great presidents. I think that was he perfect? No, he wasn't perfect. He did some things that I disagreed with, but I think that he actually had the American people at heart. I think that he did what he could to expose what was going on in our government. JFK, again, did some things that, I don't agree with, the whole Bay of Pigs thing. But, I will say about the Bay of Pigs, because I had someone quick to point that out to me on my Twitter thread when I mentioned JFK. My understanding of the story, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding of the whole Bay of Pigs thing was that actually the director of the CIA at the time is the one who set that up. And at the last moment, John F. Kennedy had to make a decision. He had to decide, am I going to throw American lives and supplies into this, or do I just cut my losses because I never wanted this anyway? Now, maybe I'm wrong on that. That's my understanding of it. If that's the case, if I'm wrong, by all means, let me know in the comments. Let's see here. Paul says WAPO owned by Bloomberg. Yes. Bloomberg, which I will say for all those who say, oh, Donald Trump bought the election, right? Bloomberg tried. He tried to buy the election, and he was so unlikable that even the Democratic Party didn't want him. They didn't want him. Oh, it's good, Gibson. Hey, good to see you. Glad you could join us. Bloomberg tried desperately to buy the election. Now he's just taking all that money and funneling it into Joe Biden's campaign. You expect to see tons and tons of TV ads bashing Donald Trump. Expect to see tons of social media ads, television ads, all that stuff, because that's Bloomberg money. Bloomberg is part of the very thing that I truly believe that Donald Trump, if you look, the number of human trafficking arrests have skyrocketed under Donald Trump. He signed an executive order allowing us to seize assets for anyone that is involved in that. There's a lot of stuff going on. Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say those of us who kind of have been involved in watching the Q posts and Q movement for a long time, we have certain expectations. We expected something to happen. We kind of look at the dates and we go, oh, this is going to happen then. I want to be clear. At no time our date said this is going to happen and set in stone. At the same time, I find it very, very frustrating that certain members of the deep state, of the coup, whatever you want to call it, the Russian collusion hoax, are still walking around free, right? Now, I can understand it for a little while because you had a very corrupt, very, very corrupt administration that had filtered, right, all through major parts of our three-letter agencies. The CIA was wholly corrupt from the beginning, but really, really bad. One of the few good people left in the NSA was Admiral Rogers, which I still believe, although we don't have, evidentiary fact on that, I still believe Admiral Rogers was the one that told Donald Trump, hey, you're being surveilled, right? Your tower is bugged, or you're being watched, because he saw what was going on. Admiral Rogers is a true patriot. The other person that was really, really just done wrong is General Flynn. But we see all these people that were deeply involved, right? Brennan, Schiff, Pelosi, all these people that were involved in this Russian collusion nonsense, the impeachment garbage, and they're still walking around. And many times, look at Feinstein, right? She had a Chinese spy as a driver and an assistant for 20 years. 20 years. You can't tell me there's nothing that she can be charged with under that. You have Waters, who is calling for physical harm to people. I thought inciting violence was a crime. What is going on with this? Are we going to see justice? Are we going to see something happen? I hope so. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to come, but I do know that today's briefing, I think, was a tiny little peek at Trump showing these people, hey, we have video. Everything is saved. All these things that you said I was doing wrong, all of these claims that you made are going to be proven false, right? I don't know. I'm hoping it happens soon, because we have to really show what. And look, let me make one thing clear. There are plenty of people in the Republican Party that are just as guilty, right? That are just as guilty, that are just as involved with the deep state, that are just as involved with pay for play, taking money and, screwing over their constituents. But as a whole, we can look at the Democratic Party, the Democrat Party, whatever you want to call them. The actual official name is the Democrat Party, just so you know. But we can look at all of that and say that in general, especially now, especially post-2016 election leading up to today, the left is the one that's supposed to be the party of peace, right? We have people that are wearing, love Trump's hate and screaming obscenities, trying to attack people, that are telling people, you should die, stuff like that. It's nuts. So unfortunately, that's what we're left with today. Okay, yeah. Michael says that was a nice propaganda video he played today. I disagree. I talked about that earlier. If you had been here, you could have seen. But I didn't find it propaganda. All he did was call out the lies that have been told by the media. He showed that even governors on the left are openly saying that he's done everything he's been asked. We had Fauci, who walked back some comments that he made because he knew he went too far. What do you guys think? Do you think Fauci should be fired? That was another thing that Trump was quick to jump on. He's like, no, we're not going to fire him. Yeah, he has shared a tweet with the hashtag Fire Fauci. That's why the press was like, but you shared a tweet. You retweeted. And Trump retweets stuff all the time, right? All the time. And just because he retweets something doesn't necessarily mean that he endorses it or believes it. It's unfortunate that our press can't be trusted to do a real job. Paul says, boot them all. Yeah. There are a lot of things happening. If you start looking into tiny little details, if you see, Fauci actually is friends with Gates and that whole foundation. He was deeply involved in HIV research under the Reagan administration. All of that. Chris says Fauci clip that has him say in March you should still go on a cruise. Yeah. I mean, this was a guy that was promoting policies and events that today we know horrible idea, absolutely horrible idea. But at the time, he was still saying, yeah, you should go on a cruise. There's no reason to do anything. There's no reason to change anything that you're doing right now. Michael Strauss agreed, boot them all, Trump and Pelosi for president 2020. Well, I disagree. I don't think that Trump, I don't think Trump goes, nor do I think he should. I think that we have a lot of people in Washington, and I will agree that some of the things that he's done I'm not necessarily in favor of, but I would much rather have Donald Trump right now than anyone on the left and anyone on the right. I think that he's the only one that has a chance to pull us out of anything right now. Paul says 99% of Washington, absolute Guten Tag. That's right. 99% of them are absolutely horrible. I can count on one hand the number of representative senators that I actually listen to and generally believe anything that comes out of their mouths. Let's see if we can get a list going. We have, I like Massey. I think Massey does a good job. Rand Paul, right? I think he does a good job. Anyone else? Can anybody name anybody else that is current? Oh, I like Crenshaw too. I like Dan Crenshaw. Yeah, Massey and Rand. Jose, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Michael said if people would have had their heads, Ron and Rand would have been great. Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't think that enough people. Look, as I understand it, the RNC kind of did to Rand Paul what the DNC did to Bernie. If I'm correct about that, there was a lot of sketchy stuff going on there. They pretty much stole the nomination from him, which is unfortunate because I think he'd make a good president. I do. Yeah. Michael says, yes, that's what I thought. I'm not as knowledgeable about that as I probably should be. But it's another indication of the broken system that we currently possess for our elections, for the politics in this country. We see over and over examples of our elected representatives selling us out for perks and pockets, right? They get money or certain perks, houses, whatever, so that they don't have to do their jobs. All they do is vote the way they're told. They do the things that they're told to do, and that's about the extent of it. It's unfortunate. Let's see here. Michael says, I pulled the highest percentage in the state getting votes for Ron in LaPorte County the last time he ran. Wow, that's impressive. Well done. It's ridiculous. Unfortunately, that's the system. Now we can hope all day that Trump or the people around Trump are actually going to do something about it. And I will say this. I will say if he is actually working to drain the swamp, and in many cases he has, if you look at the record number of resignations, the record number of people not seeking re-election, there are definitely things going on behind the scenes. There are definitely things going on because the NSA has it all, and the president controls the NSA. There is a lot of information, I believe, that Donald Trump holds that many people will never, ever, ever know. Jeffrey Epstein had blackmail on probably thousands, if not tens of thousands, of very, very important people. And they have it all. They have it all now. Now, what's he going to do with that? Well, we shall see. I think we're seeing it right now. I think we're seeing it when he puts the press on blast. I think we're seeing it when he shows a video of the press telling us one thing and doing another. I think that's just the beginning, just starting to scratch the surface on that. So I'm going to wrap it up. Chris said he's going to go watch his wife teach early economic systems. Yes, ask her if she would be willing to come on. Hope that's, as for those of you who were not here in the beginning, Chris Wells is going to be on the show Thursday. Let's see. Paul says, and not knock anyone who runs are, but the brainwashed by the system keeps any third party from getting high seats like Senate and House. I agree. Unfortunately, the system is set up for only two parties. The two-party system is it's what we have, right? I'm a Republican. I'm running as a Republican. We need more independence. We need more people that are not connected to either party. I am not beholden to the party. I believe in the ideals of the Republican Party. I believe in less government. I believe in personal freedoms. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Second Amendment, First Amendment, the whole thing. I believe in states' rights over federal rights. But I'd like to see more independence. Let's face it, when you look at Bernie Sanders, he claims independent, but he aligns himself with the D party. He ran on the Democrat ticket. If he was truly an independent, he'd have ran for president as an independent. We know that. And now he's endorsing good old Creepy Joe. So thank you again, everyone, for coming out and joining me. I will see you all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, right? God bless you, and God bless the USA.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.